Hello everyone, and welcome back to some more Prismata. Before we move on to the next game, there was something that I wanted to look at in a replay from the previous episode. One point of interest that came up in this game that I didn't notice until I was looking over it after had finished recording. You will recall this was a red mirror where I used my wild drone to rush out electrovores faster than you normally could, and discovered some interactions with Corpus that should have been obvious but weren't really. I always forget every time that when you click on Corpus it can't absorb that turn. Well, in blue games I've forgotten that when you click on Corpus and it's at 0 it can't block. You can't absorb with it yet. And then this is my first time playing Corpus in mono red, and I forgot that it can't absorb the turn you click it. So what I wanted to point out was this turn here. I built one engineer because my opponent is threatening to kill one engineer, and I want to keep the same number of electrovores available, right? Or I guess it's actually the previous turn, right? When I'm thinking about doing this, and I'm here. Let's enter analyze mode. Let's say, if we leave things like this, the opponent can. Remember, he's losing at least one Rhino, so he's only actually attacking for 3. He can attack with 3, and we'll have to lose Husk NG into Corpus, and therefore only have 1 Electrovore available. I didn't want that, so I built an Engineer. Fine. Now, the interesting point was, why didn't I just build 2 Engineers? Engineers are good. And I might very well want some more defense next turn. And I think that this is a mistake that I've certainly seen beginners make, and I've made myself. But, okay, so you're kind of tempted to build engineers early because they're not prompt, and you want to build them just in case you might need them next turn. But try to figure out what the most you're going to need is, and don't build more than that. Because an engineer now is no better than an engineer next turn, unless I'm going to need it next turn. And I'm clearly not going to need it next turn. So I held the engineer, and what was interesting was, okay, so this is the turn I actually took. Well, forget it. God damn it, I forgot you. I'm still not. You have to click down there to like exit replay mode. I built just one engineer, and as a result, when my opponent, when I was looking at this, I was like, wait a minute, why do I have $10? I don't have like any drones. How did I get it to $10? Because I ended up needing to spend like all of this on clicking the Corpus and building a Rhino. If I'd built one more engineer last turn, I couldn't do this. Click Corpus, build Rhino, which is a really, really high value thing to be able to do. It lets me get the absorb while still getting the soak by clicking on Rhino. On Corpus, I should say. And so, in principle, I should have anticipated this turn coming and said, I'm going to want to click Corpus, I'm going to need to build Rhino to get absorb. That's $9. I'd really like to have $9 at the end of the previous turn. That is, when I was thinking about what to do on this turn, I should have said, I will want $9 next turn, so... And my opponent threatens to kill a wild drone, so I should really make sure this number says at least 11. And that would allow me to realize, shouldn't build an engineer. I can plan ahead for that. But, even though I don't see that coming, although, as I say, I should, by following the sort of like, just sort of rule, not even really a rule of thumb, it's just like, better. So, why am I even talking about this at all? Because there's some guidance in Prismata, don't float resources, usually, right? Your gold isn't doing anything, just sitting in the bank. Spend it so you can build more attackers, or more economy, or more defense. The money you spend now gets you something good, which sort of accumulates over the course of a long game. Here, though, was an example of where that's not a good idea. If the only thing you can build now doesn't accrue any advantage next turn, don't build it. it was literally the only thing I could build was one engineer, right? I thought of building a drone at the time. I couldn't because I had no energy. And it's a good thing, too, because if I had... would it have been okay? If I'd built a drone, would that have been alright? I guess a drone would have been okay. No, because I'd be... Yeah, anyway. The only thing I could legally build at this time was an engineer, and I determined that it was no good. It couldn't possibly help me, so I floated the gold, even though I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. It was just more useful to have 2 gold than to have an engineer. And as it turns out, there was something useful to do with the 2 gold to accomplish these 2 really important objectives of clicking the corpus and building a rhino. I didn't realize they were going to be that important, but they were, and I could have realized it. But just following a rule of thumb of, like, don't do stuff that's pointless allowed me to get the right result anyway. Our master rank continues to climb. That's nice. I mean, that'll happen when you're on a 5-game win streak, of course. Who is this? Burra Hobbit. I don't know this person. We're in base +5 with high absorb, wow, and a lot of green, like, and health. I think Frostbrooder will feature because being able to freeze Centurion is pretty important. But we're gonna go like high econ, and Centurion, right? So I think the player 1 build for this is like 1E to go high econ. Next turn, we could 1E again. No, that's no good. We just 1DD. Or DDE. Right? And then next turn we can build 2 of these guys. Yeah. Seems fine. Wait, why did I build the engineer if I'm doing that? Just build more drones. Green is great, but I'd rather get my economy going and build the dynamos eventually. So now I can do something nuts like this, which I think is actually pretty cool. So let's do it. I don't know how nuts you can go here. Like, there's no attackers. Okay, yes, you got me. I'm losing an engineer. It's just a question of, like, building up to Centurion, right? And... Okay, I can build a Blast Forge. And a drone? Gonna have 20 bucks next turn, huh? I maybe need more tech than this. Don't build the drone? Well, I can't really do anything else. Alright, we'll build the drone. And just, like, plan to convert thorium dynamos and build, like, a polywall or something seems pretty great. It'll be a while before he can breach the polywall, so we'll be getting a lot of value out of it. He's provoking me by building these Gauss cannons, but not really. Well... Okay, so it's not possible for him to get up to 6 health next turn or the turn after, right? Next turn he has 12, he could build 2 more, and then the turn after that he could build 2 more. But if he does that, he's just like churning out Gauss cannons. And it's like, is that really so good for him? To spend all of that investment on Gauss cannons? It might be okay, actually. Maybe I should just build a regular wall. Which would let me get... a drone? No, I can't build a drone, I'm building these guys. An Animus? I can't really do that either. I don't think I want to build the polywall yet. Getting 6 absorb is great, but... Or getting 6 block is great. It'll save me 2 damage next turn, but then it'll cost me 2 damage the turn after when he takes up to 6 attack. And I don't want to encourage him to do that. I think I might actually just build another drone. Engie? And then next turn I could, like, triple drone Animus. Yeah. That seems pretty gross. Right, Centurion is going to be a humongous absorber. And having a bunch of economy is really important. for getting value out of that. It's gonna be a long game, I can tell you that. Oh, I see. I should use my blue, right? I should do this. Which means I can't get an Animus unless I cut a drone. That seems fine. Because he's building really crappy attackers, right? I'd like to build good attackers instead, and that's what Animus is for. The Steel Splitter, meh, you know, not so much. How are we on drone supply? Still like several left. We've got a ton of income, but it's not actually in drones, it's in thorium dynamos. So I'm just gonna start building Tarsiers soon. They're not amazing attackers, but they're the best ones in the set, so... Yeah, he's like rushing now for Centurion, but I think it's too soon. You want to build Centurion when it gets absorb value. And I'm not really threatening to attack for anything at all, so I think these two Blast Forges are probably misguided. In fact, if he builds the Centurion now... Hang on. This spends 3 green? Okay. If he builds the Centurion now, like, Polywall blocks against it superbly. So... that's another reason it's not great for him. I'm thinking, honestly, of getting a second Animus here. We have so much tech to play with. But maybe I'm just supposed to get this so that I can Centurion soon, because it actually will help me a lot very soon. Yeah. I want a Centurion soon. He doesn't. But let's do this, I think. Maybe I actually want to keep all the green? I can always turn it into money later, and no, I want an engineer, because then I can like build more drones. I love drones. Wait, did I forget to attack? Oh my god, I didn't realize I had an attacker. How do I oops you? Now he thinks I'm saying oops about his Centurion, which is how I feel, but I actually was talking about my my Steel Splitters failing to attack. I think that this this really is a double Animus. Just to get out, like, Frostbrooders are pretty good, and Tarsiers are fine. I want to keep an eye on the economy sizes, but right now I have more, and that's what is interesting. I just don't want to let him get ahead of me on that without me noticing. There's all the Tarsiers, there's all the Steel Splitters. That seems like a good turn, right? Let's build a couple engineers to replace the ones we're losing. He's ahead in attack, of course, but that's hopefully going to change soon. My Animus, double Animus, is helping with that, and I can build Frostbreeders as well, which are pretty good against Centurion. Maybe like this? I kind of need engineers, right? No, I don't. I can just build, I can use the money I get from this and all the green that I'm constantly floating to get Aegises. Aegises? I'd rather, maybe something like this. I want another conduit in. Because Aegis is such a superb unit. I want to be able to build 1 million of them. It's substantially more efficient than Polywall in terms of gold. It costs more green, but this is a very, very high defense set, right? So I'm going to want to be able to build both of these things a lot. I guess I made a mistake by not being able to spend my red this turn. Blah. I should just build a regular wall, right? And then I can build a Frostbrooder. The Frostbites are going to start causing him a lot of grief pretty soon, I hope. Economy-wise, I'm still up a tiny bit, which is fine with me. My two Animuses look a little silly, but they let me pour out Tarsiers pretty quick, and I think that that was worthwhile. Let's build a Polywall. Let's just build Wall Aegis. Polywall Aegis, I guess. Steel Splitter, Frostbrooder. NG Conduit. Now we're building 6 green per turn. This seems alright. And like overbuilding green is no big deal when you have thorium dynamos in the set. You can always just click the dynamos to turn it back into money at a pretty reasonable exchange rate. In fact, 1-to-1. So a conduit is as good as a drone. It costs $1 more. Oh, what have I done? How do I? There should be a button for emoting, but I don't know what it is. I got exploited there. But he's already having to like leave back defenses or something. I can't do anything here, can I? No. Okay. But I can just build like Polywall. No, Polywall Wall. Aegis should be good. Yeah, I think so. Click this, build 2 Rhinos and an NG. The Rhinos are attackers here, of course. Make sure I don't let my Frostbites die off. I can always use 2 of them to freeze Centurion, denying him actually 5 health because he doesn't have any other walls to absorb on? Okay. He was worried about getting overrun there. I don't know if he necessarily had to worry about that. Could I really have gotten? I could have. I could have just spent the Frostbites freezing these 3 big guys. So it actually was all 18 freeze I was threatening. Okay, well that was an interesting game. That's gotta be the highest econ game I've seen in a long time, although I think that maybe the Defense Grid Savior game we had a while ago was maybe higher econ? Unclear. I still don't really know what the right Thorium Dynamo opening is for player 1. Especially if you want to go high econ. I think for player 2, something I did before was just drone, and then double Dynamo on turn 2? That works, doesn't it? Maybe it's turn 3 you can do that? Let's analyze it real quick, I guess. I need to just get a handle on how these things work. So here we are, turn 1. If I put in a Thorium Dynamo, it looks pretty stupid. So that doesn't seem great. So I do this. Likewise, if he puts in a Thorium Dynamo, I don't know, it's interesting. He can build an engineer, but he can't use it. So let's say he just does this instead. Now, can I build any useful dynamos this turn? I could do this. And then build 2 drones next turn. I'm using all my energy and building units I want to build. It's probably good, right? He can indeed do this, which is what I did the first time I saw Thorium Dynamo. And I learned it's actually relatively standard. So that's fine, I guess. On the one hand, it doesn't get you the 3rd engineer. So you're not, like, can you say that you're going high econ? Maybe. Like, each dynamo is sort of like building two drones, right? You turn 3 drones into a unit that gives you $5. So it's almost better than going high econ because you don't have to commit to the engineer yet. You get to spend all your energy on building drones, and you get out effectively 4 drones on turn 2, which is like, that's disgusting. I think that that's better than building the engineer, but maybe this is better. Let's just benchmark both of these, right? So let's do this, and I don't know, pass for player 1. And what does he do now? He builds a drone, right? And then he can't build 2 more of these guys. He has to go like, wait, why did I build this engineer for him? Because that's what he did. Okay. I guess, well, the whole point was to compare against what he did. It doesn't seem very good. He never gets to use that 3rd engineer that comes from having built Dynamo NG on turn 1. He doesn't have enough money to make use of it, right? If he had just like cut this engineer, then he'd have $3 right now and he could build another drone. So that's another interesting approach, I guess, is to just build 1 dynamo, pass, build, wait, yeah, and then build another dynamo. Is this good? It doesn't seem great, but I don't know, he gets to build 2 drones next? It seems alright. I don't know exactly what player 2 is supposed to do. Everything seems like similar, except for the early 3rd engineer doesn't really help. So, okay, fine. We got through the opening, and I put down a 3rd engineer just because it's not really very convenient for player 1. I guess I could have dynamo plus drone here. What happens if I do that? And then next turn, I can build another dynamo, I guess. Or 2 drones, maybe that's better? I just don't really understand this unit. Like, I understand its mechanics, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. Do I end up with more money this way than if I go for the engineer? Like this? I just don't know. So I guess that's something I could study. But I don't really want to become a super expert on all the ways you could use Thorium Dynamo. I'll just try to figure something out whenever it comes up. He sneaks in an attacker, fine. I think that's a fine play. Is it? Wait, why doesn't he just build another dynamo? Isn't drone dynamo here like way better for him? Killing one of my engineers is not that big a deal compared to like getting more drones in a game like this. Huh, I think that would have been better. But okay, he doesn't do that. He gets an NG and I have to build a wall in response. Or a blast forge and then a wall. But I can quickly replenish my engineer and just keep building more econ. Right, he's on 20 drones and I'm on 25 at this point. And I have the tech I actually want and not just a bunch of green. So whatever has happened in the opening, well, okay, he has 3 attack, fine. But 3 attack isn't much. I think that if you're gonna go with that early Gauss cannon, you should plan to build a bunch more of them before, well, I don't know. 3 Gauss cannons doesn't do much, but if you build like 5 or 6, then I just respond with Centurion, and they still don't do much. You have to build like 7 or 8 of them before they're really doing anything. And by that time, it's clearly a bad investment. You don't Gauss rush, especially not against Centurion. So I don't know, I think it was a mistake to have built any here. He got an engineer or 2, but I got all the time in the world that I needed to develop more economy while he wasn't. And then he rushed for Centurion too soon. Centurion is certainly the centerpiece of this set, but you still don't want to rush for it. Wait until I'm making you, right? Right now, maybe like cut the Blast Forge so that you can get out another Dynamo and a drone. You can't build Centurion next turn, but you can still build a wall and you can build some attackers. And then next turn, if I'm threatening enough attack, you can build a second Blast Forge. I wish I could, like, say, take me to the real life turn 7. This restart analysis button takes me to turn 1 because that's when I hit analyze. I have to, like, scroll back to turn 7. But okay, he did this. And now I've put myself in a position to be ready to Centurion because I expect him to be attacking me for 5. 3 of these and the Centurion that he's screaming he's gonna build, right? And I would love to absorb all of that. Meanwhile, his Centurion is... Oh, God damn it, now I'm gonna have to click restart analysis. His Centurion is just doing as much as a wall, right? Aside from forcing me to build my own Centurion, which I'm perfectly happy to do. And I'm still not sure about this Animus. Tarsiers are relatively efficient, but if you invest another $6 for the ability to churn out Tarsiers faster, do you lose that efficiency? Is it still efficient? I'm not sure. But clearly with economies as high as this, 28 drones and still droning, you need a lot of tech to be able to spend it all. And what do you want to spend it all on? I think Tarsiers, right? I've already got 12 gold per turn accounted for by Blast Forges, building Steel Splitters or more. Because you want to build attack here, not defense. And maybe, like, say, 6 gold accounted for by an Aegis or something per turn, although I don't want to build one of those every turn. Some turns I will. That's still only 18. I have to find a way to spend $11, and I have to build the tech to support that. Well, okay, 2 Tarsiers is 8, and a drone is 11, but that doesn't feel very comfortable. I want to be pressuring him faster. So I think the second Animus is fine. In really high econ games, you see that sometimes, where a player buys the Animus just so they can pour out the Tarsiers faster rather than dripping them out 2 at a time. Oh, and I forgot to attack on this turn. What an embarrassment, huh? Ugh. I just, like, did not realize I had an attacker at all. Okay, fine. So, like, at this point, I feel like he's sort of lost. We're tied on attack, but I'm able to pump out a bunch more than he is. I guess he has more green, so he has, like, sort of some income. He counteract, like, he saved up a big bank of green. Which, why? Shouldn't he have clicked the Dynamo last turn? I don't know. He's now droning to catch up, but in the meantime, I've been able to build more stuff. And I can enter the Tarsiers and start building Frostbrooder, right? He can't build a Frostbrooder without giving up on Tarsiers. So that's not great for him. But, this is... I'm not even sure it's that big a deal to get breached this game. It might be, but it might not be. If, in order to breach, I have to freeze your Centurion, meaning I'm not killing it, I don't know. I get back and I kill a couple Tarsiers, but in exchange, you still have a bunch of defense, and you still have a Centurion, right? Maybe it would be alright to allow me a breach if it's one that doesn't kill the Centurion. I don't know. Here, of course, I got brutally exploited. I wasted 2 health. If I had, say, not built this steel splitter, cut it to build... cut it and the polywall, I'll have 15 gold. Build 2 walls, a more flexible defense arrangement. I'll still have $5 left with which to build a rhino, I guess? I think that would be a better play. The rhino's not as good as a steel splitter, but in exchange I get better defense, and I don't mind having a rhino who can attack twice and then defend. For $1 less. Okay, and you know, we trade back and forth for a while, but then like my frostbites really come to life, and I have more tarsiers than he does, way more steel splitters. He has Gauss cannons, but like my attackers add up to more than his, and I'm churning out 3 frostbites per turn, so he has to over defend by 9 more every turn until eventually it's really unmanageable for him. And this is not the kind of breach that I was talking about that he could maybe survive, right? Where like maybe I breach just enough to kill a Centurion or something. That's a useful thing to do sometimes, is like freeze your opponent's stuff so that you can breach for exact and kill their Centurion. It's a very powerful unit, you'd love to kill it. But here I'm threatening much worse than that. Like I kill the Centurion and a bunch of Tarsiers. What is he even supposed to do here? He's defended as much as he possibly can. His turn is now over, and let's suppose that he continues. I just block like this, attack for everything, and now I could do this, but then I can't actually get through. So what I would do instead is freeze the polywall and an Aegis. Oh, maybe I don't need to freeze the Aegis. Hang on, give me that back. Yeah, I can breach for exact this way, but I would happily spend 2 frostbites to kill 5 Tarsiers, right? So, yeah, I get in here. Do you guys know, Frostbrooder used to... When it was absolutely first released, first version of Frostbrooder, I feel like it had lifespan 10, not just 6. And the frostbites it created didn't have lifespan 2. They were permanent. And so it was just like adding 30 chill to the game or something ridiculous like that. It might have cost a little bit more, like 6 and 2 blue or something, 2 red, but not a lot more. Like the unit is way weaker than it used to be, and it's still like quite potent in some situations. If you can afford to get it, it's pretty good. And the second Animus really helped with that. Without these Frostbrooders, the game would have gone on for a lot longer. I think I'm still winning, but this really like just absolutely pounded him into the ground. Made the end very clear. Alright, so we're done with our ticket. Let's have a look at all these numbers here and see if they make any sense. I don't know. The prize score looks about the same as it did last time that I looked. 16 something, I think is what it was last time. So really it's... And that's fair. All that changed is my elo is slightly higher than last time. I don't know. Hooray, we got objects. They didn't matter. Okay. Why? I feel like Q... There should be some button you can press on this screen that puts a power core in here. But I guess there's not. Alright. I am thinking... Perfectly played. I like that one. That's nice. And I wasn't expecting this to be so effective. Alright, sure. Cool. So that's a 6-game win streak. Stupendous. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.